Many Christmas donkey songs are there now?
Apparently there's 2.
Welcome to the Wrong Indian Podcast.
Native Americans of all trades, masters of none.
What does that mean? Oh, we have a lot to say. We are not the experts.
But we talk to the experts on a variety of issues.
I'm Brittany Schulman.
Kenrick Escalante.
This is the
Wrong Indian Podcast.
Welcome back to season 3, episode 2, Wrong Indian Podcast. We're so glad you're here. I'm Brittany Schulman.
It's Kamadum Ventiv. I'm Kenrick Escalante. How are you guys?
Hello, it's Karen Bedoni. No, it's John. So, hi guys. Welcome to the show.
Oh, wow. I didn't know we had a special guest, Karen. Hi, everyone. It's Marie. Well, I am super excited today because we are here on the show. Y'all know we love to support Indigenous creators on our show. So we are introducing a new segment called Indigifaves. Woo!
Sorry, I got so excited.
This is how excited we get to talk about some of the Indigenous owned brands that we love. So in this segment, we highlight our favorite Indigenous owned brands. This can include clothing, makeup, skincare, shoes, food, drink, art, stickers, wrap, anything that we want to spend our daddy Nez money on.
Some of us don't get daddy Nez money.
Oh, I know. I know.
You need to get a daddy Nez of your own. Come on, guys.
Wow.
That's the re-election campaign right there.
Daddy Nez 2021. I'll be your true daddy this year. For the next 4 years.
Wow. So before we go to where we can be demonetized, Brittany, what is your Indigifave?
Right now, it's Lynette Tracy Fashion. She's holding a end of season winter sale, which may or may not be happening right now. I don't know. Check out her website, find out LynetteTracyFashion.com. But I love this shirt. I have been living in this, and it's super cute. It's got a little tie. Oop, about flash, y'all.
It just got it.
I was about to increase our monetary. I don't even know.
I was like, whoa.
No, yeah, it's just don't fall. Super cute. It's so comfortable that it's literally like throwing on a t-shirt, but then you look a little bit better than a t-shirt. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Especially in COVID times, it still looks good with leggings, because everything needs to look good with leggings. Also, I have been pairing it with Kristen Gentry. We were supposed to have her on last season, but there were some scheduling conflicts. So hopefully we'll get her on again. But she has a whole bunch of native earrings. If you're not necessarily, because some of us aren't necessarily beat it earring girls. I mean, I am that too, but some people aren't. So she has like these wood ones. There's acrylic. It's actually, you can't really tell, but it's our water sign, and it looks really good with the buttons. So it's like 2 Indigenous creators at once. Boom, boom, boom. Hey. So yeah, wow. Those are 2 of my favorites.
That's a perfectly curated Indigenous outfit, y'all. And John?
Oh, so it's not really like how would you say it's a company, but anyways, from this company, I support Navajo Arts and Crafts. It's called that. And I get like all types of stuff from there. Anyways, I got this from that company. They sell like pretty art. I mean, this isn't really like a painted one. It's just kind of like how would you say, like a painted thing. But anyways, it's pretty nice though. So this is the constellation. Her name is, I have to read at the back. Her name is Nahokos Biad. I think that's how you say her name. But it's like in the not Ursa Major. It's in the Cassiopeia constellation. So
that's really
and she's
cool.
presented as a woman, and she's a woman of strength, and it's supposed to, give women strength. So something like that, So just something for my female listeners. Yeah. That's all.
Wow, that's really neat.
Yeah.
Kenrick?
Well, like season 2, that's all we did was like promote all these amazing Native entrepreneurs from Urban Native Era to Sultry Anarchy. I mean, we really showed off amazing entrepreneurs. I hope we can continue to do that. But one personally for me, I'm really in love with seeing beadwork, especially on social media. And I think TikTok is doing a great job in showcasing beadworkers. And the one that I really love right now is Razzmatazz Creations. In fact, I have one right here that
wait, that's beaded? If you're on YouTube looking at it, it's so streamlined that it almost looks like a print.
Right?
Yeah. And Kenrick was just freaking out on it, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. It's very intimidating to hold because it's so beautiful and like so the detail in it is amazing and
well crafted.
Yeah, absolutely. And I got this commission for my wife for her birthday, and this is like money well spent, And what's cool about him, Razzmatazz? If you follow him on Instagram or you follow him on TikTok, he literally goes through all the steps of how he does it, and he does it in such a beautiful, like, artful way. Like, it's not just boring video. Like, he edits it, he puts music on, he like gets you really like involved in his process. So if you guys haven't heard of him, go to razzmatazz.creations and you can find him on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I mean, his beadwork is just beautiful.
Yeah, that's gorgeous.
Mm-hmm. And he goes live a lot, and he's in real time, he'll be showing his beadwork. It's amazing. Ooh, fancy to hold your dollar bills. And so I'll go because although we have the podcast has talked about these brands, they continue to be our favorites. I am wearing a Sultry Anarchy Boutique crew neck, and it says Indigenous, and I'll add the all Indigenous. And also, I say this all the time, she is my lash dealer. I go to her for all my lashes. My favorite are the Jocelyn, and then her makeup. Oh my gosh, I love her lipsticks, her lippies. I'm wearing it right now.
Me too. And John, I love that color.
You just gotta flip this and then put it all over your mouth or your lips.
Yes, or you can get it on there another way, eh?
Oh my!
Hey.
Okay, yeah, we did go somewhere. But yeah, that I hope you guys enjoyed Indigifaves, and we were going to continue to do this as we introduce more of our favorite Indigenous-owned brands.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? Sometimes, while it's important to support brands that are out there doing some things, we should also be supporting your podcast, your local podcast. Okay. So we have mugs for sale. John will have his next week, Lord willing. But we have the red ones here.
3 episodes in since I didn't get my cup.
Something else. Oh, here, take this one, John.
Okay.
Take that one.
Give me that. All right, I got it.
That'll be smooth, so smooth. But Native Humor is something else. Mugs are still on sale. Use the code WRONG Indian. That's the word wrong, the letters NDN, to get 20% off of your order there at brittanyshulman.com/merch. All the proceeds go to supporting this podcast, making sure that we're able to stay on the air. Things are expensive or whatnot.
Support the babies.
For those little Indigenous babies, guys.
Absolutely. Wrong Indian is the promo code. Word wrong, letters Indian.
And again, it's at brittanyshulman.com. Read below, YouTubers, if you're watching it. It's www.brittanyshulman.com/merch. And that code is Wrong Indian.
Yep.
There you go. So before we go into our next topic, we had the opportunity to interview Jasha Lyons Echo-Hawk. Jasha, I'm going to say her whole name. Jasha Lyons Echo-Hawk is a justice seeker, community builder, and part-time marathoner. Oh my goodness. I'm already exhausted reading that. She has dedicated her life to pursuing equity, justice, and opportunity for all because she is a firm believer that everyone deserves a right to live their best life. She's a lifelong Oklahoman and a proud tribal citizen of the Seminole Nation, as well as a member of the Pawnee, Iowa, Omaha, and Creek Nations. Jasha has spent time organizing in rural Oklahoma on such issues such as access to healthcare, violence against women, gun violence prevention as a political candidate. And with the Campaign for Smart Justice, she currently works as the Resource Development Coordinator for the Pawnee Seed Preservation Project and is also a DONA trained birth worker. Whew. Wow, this woman is amazing. She's amazing. She serves in volunteer capacities and is one of the founders of the Native Breastfeeding Week. Recently, she was recognized by the National Center for American Indian Enterprise Development as a recipient of their 40 Under 40 award. Just an all-around super Indigenous woman.
She is amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait. Was it someone else in that same cohort with Jasha? 40 under 40, sir?
Oh, me? Oh, yeah.
Oh, you! Congratulations.
Well. We are surrounded by really amazing Indigenous leaders here. But here we go, guys. We would like to welcome you to our new series, Natives Do What, where we interview natives that do interesting and amazing things. Today, we have the pleasure of having Jasha Lyons Echo-Hawk here. Welcome to the show, Jasha.
No akitaru tatasati tatachikstariku hixj Jasha Lyons Echo-Hawk jahajafidos. Hello, everyone. My name is Jasha Lyons Echo-Hawk. I just introduced myself in both Pawnee and Seminole. And Mado, thank you for having me today.
Awesome. Great to have you.
Welcome.
Yeah. But before we actually jump into the interview, we just want to get to know you a little bit better with a game we call This or That. So we're going to provide you with two choices, and you just tell us which of those two you prefer. Okay?
Sure.
First one, running a marathon or running a political campaign? But say political pancake.
Right. It is a mouthful. And I much prefer running a marathon. It's really just you as an individual that gets to dictate your training. And then you're only accountable to yourself in ways that I think you see much more personal growth. Although you do learn a lot in a political campaign, but it just depends on who it is and what it's for. And then I live in Oklahoma too, so it's really tough.
All right. And my question is, dogs or cats?
Well, I'm really just a big cat at heart.
Yeah.
So I like cats. I had nothing against dogs. I love dogs too, but I've just always been a cat person. We understand each other.
Yeah, totally.
So knowing your civic engagement background, my question is native vote or census?
Oh man. Both of those topics are like, I don't know. I'm not hating on science. I believe in science, but science was always like a hard topic for me in school. And I feel like that, like census and voting were both equal parts. Like, what? You want me to learn about what? You want me to listen to what? I think I did really well at communicating both. But I think, ultimately I want more Native voters. We need more people counted, and that was probably more representational in terms of all the peoples. My forward thinking to-do list is Native vote right now. So that's what I'll go with.
Awesome.
That's really nice. And so when I ask my question, I'm going to have to take a sip of my coffee, and I'm going to ask you this question. Coffee or tea?
Oh man, I'm like, Oklahoma's like a hodgepodge of, are we the South? Are we the Plains? Are we the Midwest? But we like our we like our sugars. So I'm like Southern sweet tea, like fiend. Admitting that right now, it's low key embarrassing because I need to drink more water. But yeah, I have like a
real.
Yeah. We love our sweet tea.
So this or that is probably the most controversial that we keep on the show. Especially knowing you're from Oklahoma, I'm expecting a really good response here. Is it Indian taco or Navajo taco?
Oh yeah, it's NDN taco. Like I love Navajo tacos. They're tasty. I have an in-law who makes them that way. But yeah, they're NDN tacos. We got that big in-law.
For the record, see, Jasha made it official. It's in. Put it on there. That was awesome. Yeah, we go back and forth.
Is that a shirt somewhere?
It should be.
It's going to say Indian taco because Jasha said so.
Indian taco in bold.
So before we get into our Q&A, we want to get to just a little bit more about you. So like, what have you been up to, and who is Jasha Lyons Echo-Hawk?
Sure. I will go with who. Like I said, I just, at the beginning introduced myself in both Seminole and Pawnee. I have a Pawnee name, Tiktoxicity, which means she who thinks with her heart before she speaks. I'm also Seminole Creek by way of my mom, and then also through my dad. I'm Pawnee, Omaha, and Iowa, and it's Jasha because I'm Jay and Marsha's kid. I'm two-spirit. I'm a mother of 4. We're a blended family, so we have kids that are old enough to be in high school, as well as kids that are still in, like, I guess what you would consider preschool. It's a full house, and I couldn't imagine it any other way. I'm like a perennial justice seeker since I was itty bitty, just kind of looking at systems, structures, maybe not having the full like terminology to call it what it was, but like always the question master, like, why do we do it this way, or what's going on, or how, especially if there was like, injustice or inequity or something didn't seem fair. I wanted to know like why, and then what could we do about it? I'm also a community builder. I do really love to work within community. I think that's why, like in terms of political engagement or civic engagement, I get it, because I can be in community and talk to people and kind of be like a conduit between some of these issues or topics that aren't really on people's radar, and trying to make them understand why they need to be, why you need to know this information. And then I'm, forever a lactivist. Which means I am a lactation activist. I have been a mother who breastfed their kids, all the babies that I gave birth to, and was able to do so. And in our native way, like it was on demand until they wanted to stop. And it was during this pandemic when my youngest decided that they were done. And so I was, it's bittersweet. I'm still trying to process that, but yeah, that's kind of how I came to be in the native lactation space, or the lactation space in general. And and then I'm like a runner. I was always told by a cousin, Pawnees are runners. You know that, right? And it was just interesting to like hear that growing up, and then participate in ways that really helped me grow personally, like internally. That for me is a place of sanctuary and reflection. So I really value my me time in that particular activity. I know not everybody can do it. And then I'm trying to find ways to call back some of our ceremonies that are associated with running. Based on my I guess newest skill set is in birth work. I think the last time that we visited, I wasn't trained, or maybe I didn't even bring it up, but I'm a birth worker, or what is largely known as a birth doula. And I'm also a current student midwife. I started pursuing midwifery just this summer. A lot of it is in part to, be of service to our community, to our birthing people and our Native communities. As far as in my like immediate tribal community, there's not a lot of birth workers that like practice like I guess our ancestral knowledge. And then across Oklahoma, I'm not sure how many Native birth workers that practice from that particular space or are even there. Just even in the field of midwifery anyway, it's like less than 1% are Native or Indigenous, and crazy how small, I guess, in terms of just like, this is the roles that we've always had. So that's also, I guess, part of who I am. And with that came the affirmation to myself of identifying as Two-Spirit. I have always felt all these things, and it didn't become clear to me until a ceremony, like I think about a year ago, because I was just connecting all these dots personally, and it really kind of hit home in one of these ceremonial spaces. And I was like, oh, okay, I see it now. I get it now, creators. Thank you. And then I guess maybe that just kind of brings us forward to kind of what I've been doing 2020, just like most of us. It's, it's been a year. This time is it's been our struggle. And then at different ways, some of us have experienced, different amounts of growth, or have seen things that, we've decided to stop doing and change and to do something else. And I was fortunate to be able to provide for my family and not just my immediate home, but like beyond, when some of our community members were hit with COVID or impacted somehow with COVID. I wasn't necessarily like holding any kind of mutual aid efforts, just doing what I could from my little respective space. But I also was working on census engagement for the state of Oklahoma. I wasn't necessarily with the government itself. I was working with a nonprofit, and they tasked me to kind of build this program because Oklahoma is one of the states that didn't fund that effort. So it was on like churches, nonprofit organizations, tribal nations, like different cities, different counties. If anybody could get organized, it was on them to figure out how to get people counted. And I'm sure y'all are well aware that Indian country has hardly ever been, given any kind of fair treatment. And we certainly haven't been historically counted in, the vast numbers that really, that there are. And so being in Oklahoma, that, where we have 39 tribal jurisdictions, a lot of Native people, I really felt like a need to really participate. And then figuring out how to do that in the time of a pandemic was it wasn't brand new, not meaning that I've been through a pandemic before, but I just mean the idea of digital organizing or virtual organizing was something that I picked up when I ran for office 2 years ago in 2018. I don't know, like 2.5 years ago, I guess, rather. Anyway, so I was able to use those skills to help put the word out for the census, to work with other communities and help them figure out how to count their people, to make sure people were still working on this effort, because the last administration, they were what they were, and they would often change rules at the last minute. It was just a back and forth. So a lot of, and that's how campaigns can be. You just get changes and you got to roll with them. So, we did the best we could. And then that later turned into the Native vote. And so that was like, I guess what's been my latest efforts is working on the grassroots effort that we had in Oklahoma as part of the larger national campaign of the Natives Vote 2020, which was led by Native Organizers Alliance and Illuminative. They had worked with community orgs or tribal people in some of these battleground states like Arizona, Nevada, Minnesota, or Michigan, Wisconsin, and then they were like, "Hey, Oklahoma, why don't what are you doing? What can you do?" So I put together a small little team, and we turned out the vote in a lot of the places that we did. That we touched, and so and so this movement, we want to. A colleague of mine that I worked with here in the state, we're trying to figure out how to continue to not just advance like voter registration, but really transform the way that many of our tribal nations have been engaging with some policy issues, not necessarily at the national level, but within our state, because unfortunately Oklahoma's been dealing with a lot of like anti-sovereign elected officials. For example, the current governor issued a lawsuit against the tribal nations over the course of 2020 over a disagreement of the gaming tribes compacts with the state. Basically, the compacts were up, and so they could be renegotiated. But if there wasn't an agreement with the tribes and the state, then they just revert back to how they were. And that's that. The governor didn't think that was the case and leveled a lawsuit on taxpayer dollars against the tribes, only to get told what we already knew. So it's just increasing anti-Indigenous sentiment, or maybe anti-sovereignty sentiment that that me and my colleague and some others have noticed, that we would love to fortify our efforts to make sure that our tribal nations here in this state are aware and like are proactive, and not in any kind of aggressive adversarial way, but just showing how sovereignty works and how it benefits everybody. Like all these rural towns wouldn't be here. The ones next to tribal nations wouldn't be here in the same capacity if we didn't honor sovereignty. So that's probably way more than you needed right now.
All I'm going to say is that it is very clear that you're Southern by saying the administration, well, they were what they were. It was almost to bless your heart. So I think you've just solved it. Oklahoma Southern.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff that you do,
Yeah, that's good though.
I was just trying to like follow along, like, okay, this goes there, kind of like that. I was just trying to follow along. But yeah, no.
Nuts.
All with 4 kids. Let's just, wow.
How do you manage that type of schedule,
You mentioned.
Say that again?
Oh, it's just like, how do you manage that type of schedule, Like, it's crazy.
I can answer that.
Yeah.
Do you want me to?
Yeah,
oh,
sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that a lot because 4 kids is a lot. And again, I couldn't imagine it any other way. Like, it just makes sense. One of my daddies, my sibs, was like asking me not too long ago, like, how do you feed that many people? And I was like, I don't know. You just grow up cooking a lot of food all the time. And so like, I don't know how to cook for, like, sometimes it's hard to pare down to cook for just like yourself. It's very rare that I ever do that. But I have a really supportive partner. So that's my privilege, is that I have a partnership in my spouse where, we bicker when we bicker, and the pandemic has been hard and has revealed a lot of underlying issues, like for ourselves as well. And however, we often engage, not necessarily seriously, we joke, but it's also like a celebration too. Like, if we can get through, my campaign, if we can get through a political campaign, we can get through anything. And then we were laughing. And then like a year, like with our kids, we get through another year, celebration of their lives. And I'll tell my mom, like, Mom, we did it. We kept another kid alive for another year. We can do anything. But then, and going through this pandemic is the same way. Like we're getting through it. Like, I know it's, I guess in like the larger news, like of celebrities, if you will, you hear people like breaking up and separating and divorcing, and rightfully when it's, cases of domestic violence. However, like for us, we aren't like not used to being around each other all the time. Most of the time we've like our careers have usually been like work from home. I don't know. We've been through a lot already. So being able to be parents, to be people, to be humans in this time, we try to maintain a sense of honesty. I think with ourselves, and with each other, and then even with our children, and just keeping it real. Like, yeah, I'm kind of crazy right now because I'm stressed. You might want to stay like 6 feet away from me plus for a little bit. And then, yeah, we have our moments but I would say that to be able to juggle, like, I guess this like a generational kind of work, I don't think I would be as, I don't know. I mean, I would get it done regardless, but I think just to have the support of community in my family and my partner is really how we've been able to navigate like what we both do. Yeah, because he got tasked to work on the Natives Vote campaign too, and he was gone for like 2 weeks in October, and I was just like,
Oh, gee.
all right, we'll figure it out. Yeah, but it's all, all for the collective good.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing I would want to know a little bit more about is the concept of you being a social justice warrior. I mean, it's pretty profound that you are. So can you talk more about it, and can you maybe express how we as Indian country can encourage more people to be like that?
Yeah, I feel like I've identified for me, because I'm like a analyzer, internal processor, always taking things apart. Like, what does that mean? So like I traced my I guess this calling, if you will. I don't know if that's like the proper way to describe that. I just grew up with people who, they just did. They questioned when they could, and they did something about it, or they would share about what they were doing. I really look up to my mother, my Eti, and my Boji, my grandmother. She's Della Jones, is a boarding school survivor, and my grandma, she would just share nonchalantly. Like, she never was like in any kind of like pointed way, like, you need to do this, you need to do that. She would just share from her past. And I can't remember like if it was like a question I asked or she was just talking, but I could remember hearing those stories as young as being like 7 or 8 years old. Some of them, they weren't, she didn't share like incredibly unpleasant stories, I guess, when you think about the history of boarding schools. But it was enough to know that like grandma saw some shit. And yeah, and then grandma just like, there was like culture there from like for the whole of my life. When I was little and she was still living, we'd be in her home and staying, and that was like the best place to be. And I just remember the kitchen table was my favorite because that's where grandma would visit. Boji would visit with all our relatives that, could, any of them really. And a lot of them spoke Seminole or Muskogee, if you will. She always told me we speak Seminole. And we just hear them go back and forth. And they'd get real animated, and they were just, living their lives like they deserve to. And then, then we'd hear like it get real when they drop curse words. Like, oh my God, but she also was just she just shared as much as, they're taught not to in the schools and taught to like not speak their language. My grandma was always fierce and just bold, and I don't know if she truly did live her fullest self, but that's what I saw. And she would come to my school sometimes to like, to just, be a visitor and share about who we are as Seminole people. It was always living for me. It was never like past tense. And I also saw the reality though, of like what happens when, when we don't have all the options, when we don't have all the access, like what could have been, even if my grandma was happy, what could have been, if my mom and her siblings were supported in the ways that like other people are in a very privileged way. And because like, so when I'm in my home as a little kid and I'm watching, the difficulties that are going on between my parents, I had one who was for sure an addict, and we're kind of estranged, my dad and I, but just knowing now, like being able to reflect back, or even as I was coming to this consciousness of like, man, the system really, gamed him and his family and his siblings and my family and like all collectively. And like, it didn't have to be. So what could we do now? Because we don't have to live with that. And to be like aware of my position from what they've done, from what they pushed forward and what they put out, like that responsibility, I guess, is really what it is. It feels just like I have a responsibility to honor the prayers said before by my ancestors who went through so much. And we do it in the ways that are, I guess, to our skill set or our strengths. I know sometimes I'm not maybe the best person to be in some of these spaces. And when I say best, maybe just not the most knowledgeable, or maybe it shouldn't be me right then or forever and ever. But a lot of times it's like, if not now, if not me, then who? If not now, then when? And if I'm there, what can I learn and what can I gain so that I can bring others with me and then be like, here you go. This is better for you than it is for me, but it'll be better for all of us in the long run. And so, yeah, just being able to identify, just the different struggles and then celebrate, the layers of love that have filtered through time, and being able to kind of share that in ways that I know that is my strength. And I have been thinking more specifically about just like, how do you make that like, I guess, how do you translate that to like our youth or our up and coming folks, or folks who just didn't see themselves in these positions? It's like, for me, everybody, if we were fully realized, everybody would understand like what they bring to the community, like what makes them just as important as the next person, and what they can share out. Some people are historians at heart. And so what was, I guess pre-contact, what was that role? Like, what did we call those people? What did they do? Like, how do we celebrate them? And how do we, help foster and support folks, meeting them where they're at? So I mean, I don't really have an answer for that necessarily. I know that in my personal work, I'm trying to call back one of our a coming of age ceremony. It's not currently in practice here in Pawnee, and I have been asking about it for a while, and just have had ideas or visions, if you will, come to me, especially as I've really dive into this role of birth work and all the things that like kind of are related to that particular like coming of age for those who could menstruate, and just seeing, what it could do, not just for the individuals that are of that, moon cycle now, but like even how that reflects back into community, and even how you could still do that like in a time of a pandemic. So when I finally feel like I have my feet under me, I'll figure out how to move that forward and get the blessings I need. But I think that's part of it too, is like some of these what do they say, those ceremonies that happen when you like reach a stage of life, like some ways our community doesn't practice them like they had before. So if we did put those in practice, or if we called those back, or if we just tried, how could it like springboard, that kind of sentiment of making sure everybody understands their potential, or helping foster people's potential.
Yeah, you actually created such a perfect segue into my question, Jasha. First of all, spoken like a true Indigenous leader. Wow, I'm just over here gushing. But the perfect segue, and my question is, I found your background in birth doula and midwifery. I always have a hard time with that. So unique and beautiful. And so what are your thoughts about the importance of having Native midwives for our communities?
I'm still trying to find that information in terms of the exacts of what we have done and going forward, what we can do. I've actually been having a lot of conversations around this particular topic of birth work, especially because I don't necessarily like to say, like, so I'm a trained doula, right? Which is different from a midwife. And some people don't know that. And some people don't even know what doula is. Excuse me, if you're not like engaged in the field of birthing and related topics of that kind of health. But it's just interesting to see how some of these, like, I guess, white-led institutions created like these standards to dictate the scope of how somebody will practice, and I guess to their professionalism in the field so that they can garner like a fee that they can impose, to make money. And I find that to be really counter to how we are as Native people in general. And then just like I understand if you are like a birth worker of color, especially, or even an Indigenous birth worker, and if this is like what you solely do, you have to make a living. For me, because it's not so widely practiced here, especially, it's like people have forgotten that we're like medicine people too. I don't like to self-proclaim things necessarily like in that way, but it is healing work. It is medicine work. It is work that involves like keeping track of family trees, of keeping track of like people in the community in ways that, that just haven't like, again, been practiced. Like it's there. We just have to call it back. And if we do, then what happens? Like what kind of healing will unfold? How will that shape, or be a counter to colonization, to patriarchy, to bigotry, like to homophobia, to transphobia. And so I think it's very important that like not only that we call back Native midwives, but even just the way that we practice and advocate for ourselves in that cultural space and that ceremonial space, both within the community and outside of the community. But then when you're looking at like statistics of maternal, as they call it, maternal health, the rates of maternal mortality, just like in what is called the United States, are ridiculous given the, I guess, supposed advancements we have in, the medical system, right? However, we all know there's racism, there's bias in these systems, and that's what's, disproportionately impacting our people, our Native people, our Black and Brown people. I mean, Native people, some of us are aware that we have been, forced into mass sterilizations at the hands of IHS. So it's like a lot of like back and forth issues with do we trust the system? Do we not trust the system? And some people don't have any other choice in terms of paying for their care, right? So they got to go through IHS because that's like our treaty obligated healthcare, and that's all we know. But then many of our people aren't in positions to be so empowered to know that they have a choice in how they birth. And that's something where I think, if you had more Indigenous midwives or more Native birth workers who could be there with you to help, help provide information, not necessarily make you decide, but be there to help advocate and provide you with the information. And then we figure a way to get you there, right? Also, though, there are also other barriers in our communities that we know, like some of us birth workers are very well aware, that our people have been, so underinvested or just, lack of investments in our communities that they might not be able to safely, deliver in the care of a midwife or, at home or at a birth center. There might need to be a medical intervention, or, maybe it's just the system again, making us believe that. I'm not saying that like, there aren't quote unquote high risk pregnancies in any country. However, there's a reason why. It's not just because we just inherently are higher risk. We have diabetes because of biological imperialism, the rations that we got and the way that, we live in food deserts. We get the scraps and we make do. And then that's, yielded diabetes, just, all kinds of health inequity, health disparity. And I think that's, where Native midwives have a role too, all the same. I mean, we're not necessarily doctors, but we know a lot. We can do a lot. So
I think even more so than doctors sometimes.
Exactly.
All right. So my question is, do you look up to any female activists?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I do.
Which ones would you say you look up to most, actually?
I really look up to there's a lot in popular, culture, if you will, like Winona LaDuke, Wilma Mankiller, Suzanne Harjo, all the aunties, right? Auntie Deb, Representative Howland, Representative Davids. And then, we have our non-native folks too. But yeah, I really think our folks that aren't popular in name, in the broader scope, I relate to them more, I guess, or I have I don't know if I could scale the respect, but I have several mentors that have just loved and believed in me, in ways that I guess as, this year hit and I'm sitting and I'm idle and I'm having to sit with myself and not think my worth is dependent on production. I'm oh my God. But then it's that love of those mentors that have just filtered in. One of my dear friends, Shan Goshorn, Eastern Band Cherokee artist who passed away at the end of 2018, was someone who I don't even know how the way that creators do the things that they do to bring people in your life when you need it. She was really a pivotal person for me and never talked to me I was there was a hierarchy, always was we're like this. Pawnees, we do this, which is like a salute, we're the same or we're at the level. I know people call this also Oak Flat or whatever, save Oak Flat, but for us Pawnees, this is a traditional sign language. And so that's how Shan saw me. That's how I knew she saw me. I mean, it was just that way. And to pluck me out of everybody she could talk to and visit with and spend time with. And she didn't mentor me intentionally. She just was oh, I want you to meet this person. I want you to meet that person. Give me your idea on this. Can you give me your opinion? just reach out, profound, prolific, amazing shero, to so many. And we had love. We were family. People like her. I have a couple sister cousins. I'm married into the Echo-Hawk family, and the other day I was on this call with this I don't even know how I get into these places. Sometimes I'm oh my God, how do I end up on a call with all these people who used to be tribal Native women who used to be involved with federal positions in the government for some time. And sorry, I got a message and it just dinged real loud in my ear. I thought I turned everything off, but anyway, so my sisters were I think it was, oh my God, I think it was 5 of us, 5 Echo-Hawks on the call. And so somebody teased and said, we're really on an Echo-Hawk family reunion call. Don't mind us, because they just were talking a lot and they apologized for talking so much. But we were all excited to see each other too. But these, the people, the woman that said that, she was totally teasing. But yeah, Abigail, Lael, Colleen, Echo-Hawk, I really I love them. They've always loved me, and being married in, and I have often asked them a variety of questions, those Echo-Hawks. Judith LeBlanc is somebody that I really look up to. She's like long in the game. Same way. Like I just met her and she just brought me in, and we've just been like that ever since. Like my Bunky and I, we tease her about her Boston accent, and we'll like say this, Judith, say this, Judith. Yeah, like it's just. It's
Can
just
you say coffee for me or something like
right.
that?
Yeah. Tell me you're going to go park the car. And then even like, and you know, people like Brenda Pipestem, an amazing, badass woman attorney, a Native woman, Eastern Band Cherokee as well. Mary Catherine Nagel. I'm dear friends with them because of these connections. And then I'll shout out my beloved older sister. Her name was or is Marissa Chapman. She we called her Missy. She was about 10 years older than me and was like a second mama, and really was like the person in her position to really show me this unconditional love and nurturing. And in so many ways, like I identify with her with the sunflower. She loved the sunflower, but it's like a protector, a healer, the pollinator, right? Like it brings in the pollinators. It can heal the soil. It also protects like our gardens. Pawny ways we grow the sunflower around our gardens to protect what we're growing, like a natural barrier. And so I see that in all these mentors, these female activists, if you will, that I've raised up. They've been like all that, you know, protector, nurturer, and also bringing me into spaces that I'm just like, me. Yeah. So, thank you for asking.
Yeah.
So we're going to pretend no one else is here now, and let's just talk about breastfeeding, because my son has also said, hey, we're okay, Mom. Thanks. And literally, I think it's been 2 weeks now. I'm still not over it. And then proceeded to move himself into his own bed. So here we are. So yay for independence, but you know, breastfeeding. So what would you want to share with other mothers who are on that journey, or maybe coming to the end of their journey too?
Celebrate yourself. Like that's like, it's really huge. I mean, just to think about, particularly for us Native people who lactate for our babies, you know, our breast and chest feeding folks, there's been a design to disrupt that. Just like in like midwifery, like we're the first to kind of be like laws put in place to keep us from living our lives. That's you know, we're you know, I don't want to necessarily like, again, on some kind of scale, like arrange things, like not a hierarchy, but I mean, it's a really strong medicine. And so when there's active laws or active policies put in place to disrupt, you know, that part of our way, it is really damaging. So for you in this time to come, you know, to a place where you're able to, you know, provide for your baby in that way, like you're choosing to do that, and the strength it takes to do that, like the amount that we've had to overcome to do that, it's amazing. Like, don't underestimate like that power. Like that is power. That is medicine. There's all kinds of science out there that will tell you, and it's like, you know, as Native people, we don't necessarily need the studies to know some of the things that we already know, but like you are healing not just that baby and providing antibodies. It also provides, it's like your body's so intelligently designed that within that exchange, you're also getting, you know, the antibodies and the nutrients, and you're also healing, but then you're also healing like generations forward and generations back. Like the things that we do, especially if we birth generations, right? Like when I'm a grandma, like I'll affect my grandkids, like, and you can do that like with breastfeeding or chest feeding as well. So, you know, commend yourself. And then I would say to find your community, because you're going to need support, because whether you're Native or not, the world's not designed to really support that, like environmentally, socially, even politically. Like the Trump administration, they wanted to, they wanted to promote formula. It came out in the World Health Organization, I think like almost 2 years ago. It was like some kind of directive he made to this, global institution to like advertisers. I think, I can't remember the exact language, but it was basically like, you need to promote formula because formula is a business. It, involves several corporations. And that, that's happened in a lot of our Black, Brown, Native communities where formula is really put upon us. In fact, we were like the source of it. There's this book I shared on Native Breastfeeding Week some months ago. Oh my God, I can't think of what the name is, but it talks about this Black and Cherokee woman who had several children who ended up losing her children because of this particular system of taking her babies away from her because the doctor knew better, and it was all in support of formula. I'm really like underselling the story, but it's just, there's these things, right, that have happened, these historical situations, and then they're not even just historical. Sometimes they are current, like again, that administration's directive to a World Health body. But yeah, find, if you can find the community. If not, you can always come to Native Breastfeeding Week and we'll figure it out. That particular, group or collective that we have put together, me and the committee, the planning committee behind the scenes, we understand the nuance of, the mechanics of why humans need to provide that for their babies, but then we're also, Native, and we understand the historical issues that are behind it as well. And we also know the benefits and even the ceremonial and cultural aspects of providing that, indigenous milk medicine to your babies. I mean, I don't know if that completely answers your question. I guess maybe in terms of the tail end, like, again, I guess just celebrate like how far y'all went. Like if you are somebody who could have, let your baby wean themselves, like good job. Like, you provided like your body is amazing, right? Like you did that. Like you didn't just like carry this human like to its full term and then delivered. You also created like its core, like food, needs, like for at least, 6 months to a year, you were doing just all of that for them, always. And, and then you were supplementing as you needed to. So, I would just say celebrate that time, celebrate, what you've done, those memories, and, I don't know, grieve as you need to, cause it is, it's a lot, like it's, bonding that you won't necessarily have again. But you can always, go back in time and be like, I did that, right? Like who could do that?
Jasha, it's been really amazing just to hear your story today and like, to hear just your truth. I mean, every time we have a conversation with you, it's always so deep. You have such like deep thinking and we're appreciative of it. And so before we let you go, I just want to know, what is your number one initiative for 2021 and how can others help?
Okay. Well, I don't know. I know myself. Yeah, it is. It's like way loaded. Cause I'm like, I know I want to like let go of things. I don't want things to live rent free in my head. I also want to take more time to like celebrate my, some of this work that I'm a part of and I contribute to. But I think really like more tangible stuff. We're continuing to push Native Breastfeeding Week 2021. The planning committee and I are working behind the scenes to kind of navigate like what that looks like. Are we still just like this grassroots collective, or do we go into like the nonprofit, official status? I actually am a grad student as well, like everything else.
I mean, you're just killing the game. What you're doing. You're checking all those boxes.
I mean, well, and the way that I look at it is, again, if not now, or if not me, who? Then if not now, when? And if I get this information, who can I pass it back out to? Like, who needs this that I can like share this and lift this up with, and transmit, and then they can do with it what they will. I know that like with the Supreme Court ruling over Creek jurisdiction, really pushed me forward, because I had been thinking about law school, but the program that I'm in is actually just a master's program. It's a Master of Legal Studies and Indigenous Peoples Law. So we're basically learning a lot of the law as it is, and treaties. We're not practicing attorneys by any means. We just have a lot of information though that a lot of people don't know. Even some of some of our tribal elected officials don't know, and they're serving our communities in a time of a pandemic. So yeah. Anytime anybody would like to send me, funds to support that effort, that's great. I have my CashApp link on my Instagram. So that's something. It could also contribute to my midwifery training as well, because that's not free. But then, I would just say, look into other, like, whether I'm directly involved or not, I always shout out Changing Women Initiative or orgs like that, that you can actually donate to. Three Sisters Collective. I have a lot of Vadatis there that I love. Oh my gosh, it's the one there's one in New Mexico that I can't think of right now. It just escaped my brain. Tewa Women United. Those organizations, if you want to support them, you're indirectly supporting me. But again, like I said, I have CashApp you can directly give to. I will be pushing forward our Native civic engagement efforts here in Oklahoma. My colleague and I, we're also looking at possibly fiscal sponsorship, or maybe C3, C4 work. We're just still trying to get our budget in order to move that forward. Because at some point in time, Oklahoma will be a battleground state. I mean, it always has been. We just gotta mobilize the people. So I guess, that's all I can shout out right now.
Okay. So where can everyone find you on social media?
So on Instagram, I'm at J_Lyonhawk. So that's JA_LYONHAWK. It's kind of like a griffin, but it's a lion hawk. I'm just kidding. Yeah. And then, you can find me on Facebook, and I am so bad at Twitter, and I I like to go and read everybody, the timeline. I just don't post. So Instagram and Facebook are really where you can find me. And then Facebook's just my name, Jasha Lyons Echo-Hawk, and that is my whole name. I know John was talking about having a long name. Believe me, my kids, they have Lyons Echo-Hawk is the last name. And then they also have, they're given NDN names, and they're 2 words. So everybody's like, what is their nickname? I'm like, well, we don't know you. I'm not going to give that to you, but you can call them by their name.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you. And thank you for your time. And, always when you're on, you're always sharing your knowledge of what you've been doing, and, how others can help. And we need more of you. We need more Jashas out there. So thank you so much for being on the show.
Definitely do.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
No, thank you for having me.
That was a super cool interview. I really enjoyed not just listening to her, but talking to her, because it's so refreshing to talk to someone who is not just a superficial conversation. It's actually a deep conversation. And a lot of what she says is on so many different layers. What do you guys think?
So deep. I mean, literally, and I kind of said this behind the scenes, was that you don't have to say much when trying to have this conversation with her, because everything she's saying is so profound, and there's so many good takeaways from what she's saying. And what I told her is like, we need more of Jasha in the world. I mean, God, that's how I felt.
What about you, John?
Well, I don't know. She just has a lot to do, and I'm just like mind boggled, like how much time she has to do that stuff. You know what I mean? Or how she's able to manage that type of stress. And I'm just like, wow. And that's what you would call, a true strong woman. And I think that's really great. And, like young women can especially take a lot away from this conversation, that we had with her.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What'd you think, Paula?
You can tell that her work is deeply rooted in her indigenous identity. And that is it's such a beautiful web that she weaves with that. It's her past, present, and future all working together as one. And it's a very beautiful narrative.
Yeah. And on that, we're going to move from the very deep, profound conversation into maybe something a little superficial, a little fun. It's our segment we like to call What Are We Watching? We need a theme song for that. What are we watching?
What are we watching? I don't know.
Work on that, John. So Kenrick, what are we watching?
You know what? Geez, I have kind of fallen in love because I've got a little tired of.
You fell in love?
You know it. I'm getting a little burnt out with Netflix and all these other Amazon and Hulu. And so what we have right now in the house that we've been really like dived in on is HBO Max. And the reason is because like a lot of the Warner Brother movies, like the whole entire 2021 slate is now going to be on HBO Max simultaneously as they're going to be in theater. So, I mean, Wonder Woman 1984 was the first release that came out. That kind of flopped in my mind. I did not love that movie at all. But now there's a second one called The Little Things, which is a Denzel Washington movie that just came out with Jared Leto and what's his name? Malik.
Rami Malek?
Yeah, Rami Malek. Oh my God.
Oh, I like him.
Masterclass. It's just a masterclass seeing these three together. And then this like, it's a psychological thriller. It's about these two detectives who, have two different stories and they're all trying to go after the same killer. I'll let you guess who the killer was out of those three. But it was just really awesome. And there's other great shows that are on HBO Max too. Like they have originals called like Lovecraft. Like Lovecraft was a good one. It's about the writer, J.P. Lovecraft.
H.P. Lovecraft.
Oh,
yeah.
Correct. Yeah. Got, never said I was a reader.
Nerd.
But like the series is really good. I mean, it's crazy. Like out there, it's like a sci-fi horror thriller, and like every episode's different. Like I don't know. It's like watching the Twilight Zone or something, but in modern time. It's not even in modern time. It's like set in the 50s, but it's talking about like racial issues. It's about deep South and the segregation that's going on there. And there's the one thing that I will tell you that I really love about that show is like I just watched this episode last night where they were playing on this concept of a black woman being able to turn herself into a white woman through magic. And what was like, at first she was disgusted by it. Like the idea, like, oh my God, I'm in a white person's skin. But then she realized how she was treated like a human being when she was in that skin in that time. So you're starting to see like the psychological thinking of it, and how she got obsessed with it because she was like, she felt this freedom that she never had. And she realized there's a downfall to that too, because she started to see the real underbelly of that era that she never got to see because it was through a different perspective. So yeah, Lovecraft Country, HBO Max. That's what I've been watching. I don't want to rant too much about it, but yeah, that's what
But I don't have that one, and you're kind of selling me.
I was just going to say, I might have to
selling HBO Max.
What would you give it?
So good. I mean, and look, like these movies that are coming out. I mean, you're getting Kong versus Godzilla, the new Suicide Squad. movie's going to be coming out.
They killed Adam. I don't care.
Oh, yeah.
Then, I know Adam only lasted 60 seconds in that film.
But he didn't even get an intro of who he was. It was just like, and there's this guy,
And boom.
and now he's dead.
And goodbye.
Indian man died,
But you know what? It showed the rugged deadliness that is Adam.
Yeah, but I didn't like Suicide Squad. It was just kind of boring, I felt like it just dragged on.
Right.
I think if Adam survived, it wouldn't have been.
Yeah. I mean, that's what they always do with native characters, though. They always just kill them off right away. That's the thing I don't like.
Yeah.
But that's for a different time.
So speaking of killing off characters, Paula is on a. Oh, sorry guys, Marie. My name's Paula Marie, but I go by Marie. So Marie is on a bloodlust for Korean horror, a Korean psychological horror.
Mm-hmm.
So I had introduced Sweet Home one time that I was watching, and then it unlocked this whole genre of stuff for me on Netflix. And the next one, the one that I'm binging right now, is Alice in Borderland. And what I love about these Korean the dramas, comedies, whatever, is that they have such cool concepts. So this one is, I'm just going to go over it without spoiling, because I myself do not like spoilers, but the concept is that they get locked into a game, like a real life game, and they have to figure out all these different puzzles, and they have to collect cards, like a deck of cards, right? And then so the difficulty level and what type of game it is or puzzle it is what they get on a card. So the card is presented to them, and they're not of the real world anymore. They have been transported to, they don't know where it is or what it is. And it's really a cool concept. And yeah, a lot of characters you thought were gonna, they're gone.
and correct me if I'm wrong, but these are on Netflix, right?
Yes, that's a Netflix.
Oh. So right when I think I got my Netflix burnout, you just enticed me to get right back in. It's like, dang it.
Well, Netflix algorithm is so strong that once you get pegged into something, it's so hard to move. I've actually literally opened up other little characters on my Netflix just to find something new.
Right. I mean, I was binge watching Naruto, so it unlocked other stuff that I hadn't seen in my algorithm, because they're like rom-com, and I'm like, I want something more.
Mm-hmm. So I get all the BBC dramas because my wife just loves all that European TV.
I knew I loved your wife. I knew Mandy was my people. John, are you still on Netflix? What are you watching over there?
Oh, well, actually, this time I'm watching a TV show. Well, I was watching a TV show on Netflix, but I'm finished with it. And I'm just kind of intimidated because you guys are you have all these complex stories, but I've just been watching the simple show called Workaholics. I'm pretty sure you guys heard of that. Yeah. And, basically this is the plot of it. It's just they're just three friends working at a cubicle office, and then they're stoners, and then they just get into a bunch of trouble and all that stuff. So, yeah, I mean, it's not a complex story, but that's what I've been watching, and that's what I finished finally after many years of putting it off to the side.
How many seasons did they end up doing?
They ended up doing 7 seasons, surprisingly. Yeah. So, yeah, it was a long surviving show on Comedy Central.
Yep.
I think the place where I jumped off at was probably season 5, I think it was, or season 4, one of those seasons. But yeah, that's where I stopped watching it. And then,
just one of those, when you need a escape from just your mundane life and you just want to see silly stupidness that,
yeah,
they're like the Jackass of a whole new generation. It's it's hilarious.
Yeah. So that's what
John's going, what's Jackass?
No, I know what that is. I was a jackass back in the day.
We all were.
That's part of John's long name.
It is.
And then with that, we're introducing a new segment. Hi, I'm Paula. No, I'm just kidding.
And I'm about to jump off this roof.
If y'all want to talk about some literal escapism, I was never a fan of reality shows until I really understood how they were cut and produced and made. And I found Bling Empire on Netflix. If you've seen the movie Crazy Rich Asians, these are the real Crazy Rich Asians.
Oh.
So like one couple, he is a well-to-do plastic surgeon, but he also comes from he's a part of the Song Empire dynasty. So if there was still an empire, he would be like next in line. So we have these guys. Then you have this woman named Anna, who I forget what tech company her dad did, but when he died, she only inherited, her and her brother each inherited, I think, like $700 billion.
They only inherited? Only?
There's another young lady, Cherie, and her family is the denim. They're in denim. And by denim, like all the jeans and jeans and all that comes from China comes through her family. Wow. So the level of decadence and opulence of this show is, they did a 1-year-old birthday party and they had those claw machines, except everything in the claw machine was like a Gucci handbag. Mm. And they kind of spin it through this guy, Kevin, who was adopted. He's Korean, but he was adopted into a white family in the States. And he meets all these guys and now he's a model. But he didn't come from this level of decadence and opulence. So like in one episode, Anna, who like $700 billion, she just had her personal shoppers stop by with clothes and said, try some things on. Oh, you like those shoes? Get those shoes. They're like Dior $1,100 shoes. And he rides a skateboard. It's hilarious. He rides a skateboard back to her mansion and like knock on the door. He's like, was this a test? Was I not supposed to take anything? I don't know how rich people live.
How do I become a cousin to them?
I was going to say.
I was having my husband watch it because, again, it's a reality show. It's based off these, it's just this. And they go like dinner party to dinner party to dinner party. Like they had the surgeon, the plastic surgeon had a keep it tight party. They had a Botox bar.
Jeez.
Botox. Okay.
He had a Botox bar. Also, he had this machine, which I kind of want to try, where it helps tighten your pelvic floor. The girl sat on
drinking
it.
Water here. Come on.
Your floor may need tightening too. Anyway, it was like a huge chair with all these little lights and stuff. And she was just sitting there. And after a while, it was just like, okay, I need to leave.
Swear to God, it's not.
She's like, that was a big vibrator. So it was, they did a photo shoot with the 1-year-old for his birthday, and he's like decked in Gucci. I'm like, he's one. Why? And so the other thing that they were doing, because it's not just she Christine, who's one of the breakout stars off this reality show. She talks about, it's her 1-year-old son, and she's going, I did a donation in his name to this children's museum where they had their party. And I just want him to get into the best preschools. And this is going to look good on his application. I'm like, my child's 4. I don't even think about preschool. I was like, can you say your alphabets? We're good. But so I made my husband watch it. And after a while, we decided we're going to come up with our own reality show. It's instead of Crazy Rich Asians, it's going to be more like, Crazy Broke Natives. Are y'all down?
Yes.
How many ways can you cook? So like one episode could be how many ways you could cook Spam.
Oh my gosh. That's a lot.
I got a book.
That's why it's an episode. I was like, that's a whole episode in and of itself.
You know what's funny about that? I don't know if you two noticed, but like Brittany put a shout out there like, what can I do with Spam? And I'm like, dude, make Spam fried rice. And she's like, that's a thing? I'm like, it's a thing. And it's amazing. Like my wife makes it. Shoot, it's delicious.
You'd be like Bubba Gump, man. spam potatoes, spam soup, spam sushi, you know, like all of this stuff, all of it.
All right.
So yeah, that's really what I've been watching. I went down a rabbit hole and finished the whole season. It is, you can also tell that these folks didn't hang out with each other prior to the show. So like they're a little, it's the chemistry is a little off. The way they interact is a little off. Yeah.
Man, now I got to watch again, another Netflix show, right?
Yeah, Netflix.
Dragging
that's why you break into other people's algorithms, because then you find new stuff.
Yeah.
I need to watch Naruto now to drag me into your world, and I need to apparently watch Crazy Rich Asians, which, by the way, is on HBO Max. Not getting paid by them or anything. I just
no, the movie's really fun and really interesting, and it's. The reality show is like, wow. I mean, wow. They're like, when you say rich, this is like richity rich. It's not like just, I've got some money.
Crazy.
Right. It's I have too much money that I know
will
what
never
to do
spend
with.
the money that I have. And so like, and Anna is my superhero on this show. She's like, she's 60, by the way. She has blonde hair. You could tell she's done some things, but she's like, you only have one life. I've had some really great marriages and really great divorces.
Sounds like a native grandma.
Yes. The way she spits is just like, wow.
Well, I know I'm gonna need to watch both of those now. So, you know what's actually funny? I was getting hardship with my wife. She I don't know why, but for the past 2 nights I've been asking her, do you want to watch Crazy Rich Asians? She's like, what is your obsession with this movie? And I'm like, nothing. I
ever watch Bling Empire as an intro into it.
I didn't have
and it's got Constance Wu, who is just amazing. I really love
Constance Wu.
Yeah.
When you said hardship, I was thinking hardship check. Sorry.
Yes.
All the Navajo in me.
You're like, yeah, I'm just waiting for my. Oh my Lord, that's your.
Y'all it's okay.
Inez Emmys. So we're gonna transition, okay, guys. We're gonna go right back to what we always do to close out our shows, and we're gonna talk about what is making us happy. And we're gonna go ahead and start with Marie. So Marie, what's making you happy?
You know what? My pets. As a matter, it's so funny. Okay, really quick. I have 3 dogs. I have a one-eyed dog because, you know, on the res, you have to have that res dog with either one leg or one eye. And I have 2 Chihuahuas. So the bigger one with the one eye, Dahlia, she's a Pitsky. So she's a pit bull husky mix, and she's very rambunctious. So she keeps me very active because if I don't, she'll chews up everything if I'm not active with her. And my 2 Chihuahuas, the little couch potatoes, they also teach me how to relax. So I'm learning a lot from them. And then today we just inherited a miniature donkey named Burrito that we are taking home. So
hold on, literally.
Wait, you're inheriting him? I thought it was just a visit. It's not a visit. This is a forever home. You're forever homing Burrito.
Yes.
Okay, hold on. So, like, I'm going to take 2 steps back. Because, you know, when we were talking about this before the show, like, I heard you mention this burrito, but this is a real thing. Yes. I thought you were joking. Okay, so you're getting a mini donkey
named Burrito.
Oh my God. Burrito.
He's going to live on the res.
Please call him Chiquito Burrito.
Chiquito Burrito. I will let him know. That's his new res name.
Wow.
So awesome.
But I'm excited. I'm excited to rehome him. He's going to be out at my parents' house, so I get to go see him a lot. And the smaller ones, if you want to bring your babies out, they can ride him.
Man, you're going to put up your little $5 sign and everything.
Burrito rides.
I didn't get a hardship check, so that's how I'm going to make it.
That's how you're going to make it. Petting zoo.
Oh, goodness.
So, Brittany, what's making you happy right now?
Okay. I know I'm a nerd. Let me just preface it, let it out there first.
I think we all are.
Yeah, School's making me happy. Specifically, I have a data methods class this semester. I went into this class already biased against research and data. in my own personal experiences, and this, I'll just share the story. So there was actually a tribal liaison position that was opening up at one of our universities, and one of a major university. And we had a good relationship with them for doing some other initiatives and work that they were doing. So I was like, oh, okay, I got this. So I'm in this room with all these research professors, and they say, so how can we do research on tribes or, in tribal communities? We want to do research in tribal communities. How can we do that? I said, well, each tribe has their own process. This is in North Carolina. Each tribe has their own process. They have their own ways of doing it. You do have to approach the government, the tribal council, and go through that process. And they proceeded to say, can you tell us a little bit about the process? Said, I can only talk about my tribe, but I can get you some more information on the other tribes. But I would also be prepared for them to say no. They said, wait, what? It's like, yes, tribes may not want the research that you want to do. Needless to say, I did not get that position. That blew their minds that that tribes had enough autonomy. I mean, because, and now learning this from this end, so that was that end. Learning from this end is like there is a whole institutional review board and different phases that research has to go through to make sure that it's ethical and that it's safe, and whether it's a survey or collecting DNA, there's a whole process. However, there was a disconnect between, but I did all the things I was supposed to do this research. I am going to demonstrate how this information is important and relevant. It's like, you can still demonstrate how important and relevant that is. But if the tribal community goes, no, the research is done. No, the answer is no. So I'm really finding it fascinating learning for the back end, how the history behind how we do research and what that looks like. And even going through my own indigenous lens of indigenizing this process. I know there are people who've been doing this for years, indigenizing the institutions. And there's still a lot of work to do, but I find it fascinating.
That's awesome.
So that was me nerding out.
And we need more indigenous researchers.
We really do.
Absolutely. Yeah. So John, I find I find this funny, but
I was going to bring that.
What's making you happy?
Okay, so the ironic
Sorry,
thing, yes, my internet is fast. I got faster internet, but then all of a sudden it just drops. Like, what a perfect timing, right? Like, for that to happen.
Our YouTubers. Oh, I was just going to say, our YouTubers who are watching, obviously you saw John drop off, but if you're just listening, yeah, John
he was just quiet.
And it did that in like,
he just dropped off.
Yeah, it did that in the previous episode, so I'm like pretty embarrassed about that. So, but anyways, if you guys ever hear me like get silent or just see me disappear off the screen, you know that like my internet dropped or something. But it's I like having fast internet because like I'm able to watch my shows, now or play like online gaming and stuff. But I guess if I just probably stay on too long, like on streaming stuff, then it tends to like, fall off. So I do apologize about that. Sorry, guys.
I love that your fast internet that drops off makes you happy.
Yeah.
I just love the timing of it, like he was so pumped all week. My internet's so fast. And then his segment comes, it's like, burnt. He's done.
Yeah, I know. Like, it's so lame.
All good.
Yeah.
What's making me happy right now, and I think it's like a mutual thing among all of us. We're all like, well, me and Brittany, we're late comers, but native TikTok is like really making me happy. And I'll tell you this. I love the community that we all can just like celebrate all our different cultures and we can like share. And then I also love the fact that even if you're not about your culture or maybe you're just not as connected to your community, you can still be a part of this native TikTok community and still feel inclusive. But and I was talking to Marie about this earlier, is that we are seeing some of the trauma or the toxicity that we see inside our own communities kind of trickle into TikTok. And I think like in social media, you really see that like on Facebook, you know, you see the drama, you see the toxicity inside Facebook, but that wasn't a part of TikTok. Like TikTok, like the community native TikTok was like, we ain't about that, but you're starting to see it and it's getting kind of negative. But what I do enjoy is that there are these native TikTok influencers, especially the people that we're going to bring on this show throughout the season. They're speaking up. You know, they're speaking up about it and saying, look, guys, this is not what we started this out to be. This is about us being able to just be our authentic selves and feel safe in doing that. And if we feel along the way, we need to maybe educate non-natives, we'll do that collectively. But we won't like gatekeep as far as who we are, you know? So yeah, native TikTok. What do you guys think about it? Because it's making me happy. Do you guys also feel what I'm feeling about it?
It's probably the most recent joiner of the TikTok. I find it interesting and fascinating. I also find the algorithm interesting and fascinating because some of the things y'all talk about, I don't ever really see. And then I end up over here on gay and lesbian, the rainbow TikTok. I'm over there. I'm also over here at the sea shanty TikTok, which is how? My God. I'm a diverse and interesting human being. That's how.
You know what? As a misconception, Native Americans are diverse and very, very eclectic.
Yeah, I end up on all these other TikToks as well, the other places, as well as native TikTok. But the truth is that this is just another, if it's a social platform, all of the social ills are going to come into it anyway. It doesn't matter. So I see that. I can see that happening. And they won't, these social ills that we have, the gatekeeping, the culture vulturing, all of that won't change until society changes. So it doesn't matter. That's how I see it.
Yeah, and I feel like it's just going to keep continuing to be that way. You know, there's always going to be people reacting to you and trying to correct you on this or that. And I don't know, it just creates a really toxic place, you know. And it's just, I don't know, it's just kind of those things that, like I said, are just going to live there, you know. Can't get rid of it. It's just going to be there. So you might as well just kind of ignore them, I guess, or kind of just live with it, you know.
Right, yeah. Marie,
that's just the harsh reality of it.
What's your take on it, Marie?
I'm in the same boat. I'm starting to see that a lot here. And here's the thing. And if you've been a target of this, because we do have a lot of Native listeners, is that hurt people. So the person that is spreading this toxicity is hurting in some way. So you don't necessarily need to tell them, but just give them a little grace, you know, and maybe take them under your wing. But I think that with toxicity, there's a way to either ignore it or just come to an understanding that they are toxic because they are hurting.
Yeah,
That's
usually things that people gripe the most about, or things that people are the most angry and vocal about, tend to be the things that they see either in themselves or around them. It's really a them issue.
Yeah,
it's not a you issue. I mean, take the moment to say, hey, am I doing something wrong? Or, you know, or have that self conversation. But at the end of the day, a lot of the things that we project out are also things that we are working on in ourselves.
Yeah, it reminds me of like dominance behavior, you know, AKA bullying. You know, a bully bullies because they get bullied themselves. So yeah, you're right. I think, I'm not saying that, you know, TikTok in general needs to get this like healing, but you know,
our society needs healing.
You know, we just need to be cognizant that we still have a lot of work to do in healing our communities, and that we are continuing to make videos and have fun to do that.
Yeah. Tinker with your algorithm.
Yeah.
Join me on the sea shanties.
I gotta get on
potato talk.
Potato
talk
thing.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, I think that concludes our segment for this part, right?
Yeah,
Well,
I think we did it. We did episode 2.
Yeah.
Woo woo.
What was that? An ICP whoop whoop? Whoop whoop.
On right
Where's
now.
all my-
You know ICP, first of all.
Yeah.
Keep on that.
Oh,
Okay,
my goodness.
please don't forget to subscribe. We're the
Yeah.
podcast. Get out there, subscribe to us, rate us. Like Brittany always says, give us those 5 stars.
Native representation at its highest.
Absolutely.
5 stars.
If you want to get our content, remember it's wrongndnpodcast.com. Get out there, join our community, share this community, and let's watch it grow.
All right.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.